Hi everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the tail end race review for the first Bahrain Grand Prix. So before I get to this video, if you do enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my channel down below. But yeah, let's just get straight into the video. Okay, so I think the first thing we need to talk about is the massive incident at the start of the race with, I don't even know what to say about it. It was just the most horrific thing I have ever seen. So what's happened is I think he was on the left hand side and he was kind of getting boxed in. I think he knew he had more pace than the cars in front, so he tried to go right and into this gap, which was there, but at the same time Kvyat wasn't behind him. Kvyat was kind of next to him. So what happened is Roman cut across Kvyat and Roman went straight into the barrier. We had the other side, we had Kimi Raikkonen going off as well, but wow, I've just never seen an incident like that before. I don't think anybody has seen an incident like that before. To see the car split straight in half, and also, you know, the bit which Roman was in was on the other side of the metal barrier. Like, it's not just a polystyrene barrier or a polycarbon or any, you know, it's not just like one of those barriers. It was a hard metal barrier. And yeah, Roman Grosjean went through the other side, and it's horrible seeing that. When you just, all we saw was the flames. We saw an angle from turn 4 and we just see the flames, and I just thought, what's gone up in flames? I was like, what's gone, it must be something internally, like in the car. But just to see that car in half was awful. And the worst bit about situations like this is, you know, when it's a red flag and you don't know if you know if the driver's okay or not is depending on whether they will give you a replay or whether they will show you the incident. So in that moment, I just can't imagine what Haas were thinking, what his family, Roman Grosjean's family, were thinking. And it was awful for everybody. I think everybody, that really hit everybody hard here. All the fans, it hit us hard. We are so happy to see Roman Grosjean climb out of that car. You can see him quickly climbing over. Alan van der Merwe and also his colleagues and the marshals were also all around getting Roman out. Fire extinguisher was straight on him, and I'm just so lucky to see it. He was so lucky that halo really saved him. I've always been a massive fan of the halo, even when it first came in. I don't know why people said it was very ugly. I personally don't even think it was ever that. I've always been a fan of it, and this proves it why. So hopefully if there are a couple more people that are still saying bad about it, I hope this really makes you realise that there's nothing bad about the halo. But regardless, we were very glad to see that Roman Grosjean got out of the car. He had a couple of burns. You can see where his suit was burnt, and maybe he's got a couple of broken ribs. He has been helicoptered to the hospital. We should hopefully have some more updates soon. You'll probably have some updates by the time this comes out. I'm literally filming this as soon as the race finishes, so at the moment, that's all the updates I've got, but I'm just so glad that Roman Grosjean remained unscathed pretty much, and no, you know, serious injuries. But I just hope this isn't the end. I hope he hasn't broken a rib. I hope he can at least compete in Abu Dhabi, because I'd hate to see his Formula 1 career end like this. So we then had quite a big delay, and the restart happened at 35 minutes past 3 GMT time. So we had a very big break. Obviously, we needed to get the barrier repaired, and restart time, everything went well. I was like, nobody touch each other. And then Danny Kvyat just sends out the inside of Stroll, and Stroll gets flipped around. And when we see the scene of Lance's car upside down, I just felt sick. I was like, not again. But we very quickly got his radio, and he was absolutely fine. He just clambered out of it, kind of like Nico Hülkenberg did in Abu Dhabi a couple of years ago. Pretty much the same as that, thank God. But I didn't think that incident was, I don't think it was 50-50, it was more like 70-30 in a way. Like, Lance was taking the line, but at the same time, from Danny's perspective, I can see there was a gap there. He got a 10-second penalty for that, which he took in his pit stop. I think 10 seconds was a little bit harsh, maybe it could have been 5, but at the same time, he did take Lance out of the race, so I kind of get it. But yeah, yet again, we had another safety car, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I just want to get this race started now. Either start it or end it. Now, Valtteri Bottas actually got a puncture at the start. I don't know if he ran over some debris or he hit Alex Albon because they were having a bit of a tussle, but he had to pit, and he went all the way down to P16 after this, and that pretty much summed up his race. He did build himself back up, then pitted again, then built himself back up. It wasn't the best race for Valtteri Bottas. He was having a lot of fights with Sebastian Vettel, Charles Leclerc. He was struggling, to be honest with you, but at the end of the day, championship's over. He needs to watch his back for Max Verstappen, but he's not getting the championship, so yeah, it wasn't the best. Honestly, the race was kind of boring. Like, not gonna lie to you, I was pretty bored throughout that race. Nothing really happened that was that exciting. Everyone was just doing their own stuff. There was a couple of good battles here and there, but everyone was kind of not really doing anything. However, one thing I would say, it was really good to see some of the backfield drivers that we didn't normally see. Like, we've seen so much from Nicholas Latifi. I have never seen that much of Formula 1 Nicholas Latifi in my life. I've seen him in the Downs in Formula 2 and the other years in Formula 2, but I've never seen that much of Nicholas Latifi in Formula 1. So I enjoyed that. We saw Antonio Giovinazzi, Kimi Raikkonen, we saw Kevin Magnussen. I liked seeing the back battles. Now, the next point I'm going to make is Renault. Now, Renault really should, around like lap maybe 20 even, 22, 23, whatever, Ocon and Daniel were running next to each other and Carlos Sainz was coming fast behind them. And I was saying it, David and Martin were saying it, they need to swap these drivers around now. Daniel is a lot faster than Ocon. Even though he's on the hards and Ocon is on the mediums, they still should have swapped them around because Carlos was coming. And Renault didn't swap them. Carlos got both of the drivers, and then Daniel was in a situation where on lap 29 he radioed in and he said, look guys, you need to do something. I'm faster, you're holding us both up. And the next thing you know, Ocon lets him go. And do you know what, I just sat there and I thought, we've been saying it for about 10 laps. The commentators have been saying it for about 10 laps. Daniel's probably been thinking it for about 10 laps. Why does it take Daniel Ricciardo to say on the radio, you need to swap them for you to do it? Like, why is your strategist not thinking, this isn't a good move? Like, maybe we need to do something about this, especially when they are fighting for every single point, especially against McLaren. And, you know, McLaren are up into P3 into, you know, this championship now because Renault could have done a lot more today and they didn't. And I feel like they had two drivers running next to each other and they just did not utilise that at all. So the next person I'm going to talk about is Pierre Gasly. Now, he was on a very long stint of these hards and it got to like 10 laps left. And we were talking like whether they're going to pit him again or not, whether they're going to, you know, leave him out. And I want to say he was running like P5, I think, at the time. I think he's running behind Alex Albon. And I was like, no, do not pit him. He will come out like P11. He won't make up the places again. And luckily, AlphaTauri did not pit him again. I want to say Carlos Sainz overtook him. And then Daniel Ricciardo was coming, okay? Daniel Ricciardo was coming fast. But Daniel did then have some debris stuck behind, like under the floor of his car. So that kind of halted that. But what really halted it, and what made Pierre hold his position, was the retirement of Sergio Perez in P3. I felt really good because Pierre had held his position, but at the same time I felt so bad for Sergio. He had such a good race. He was battling so hard. I have never seen a car other than a Red Bull this year or a Mercedes drive like that today. I can't even describe to you how well he was driving. And then you just see the smoke behind the pink Mercedes, which it is, and it was awful to see his car blow up with like 2 laps to go. The Mercedes engines are normally quite reliable, but not today. And yeah, Sergio was retired from the race, but it did mean Alex Albon got another podium, which obviously does bode well for him, but at the same time he was given it. But that does happen in Formula 1. And also a quick point at the Marshal that ran across Lando Norris, can we just say, to go to Checo's car, the Marshal ran across Lando's car. Lando was like, what is this man doing? It was like that, can you remember that guy? I don't even know when it was from, that guy that was just running on the track. Like, this was years ago. This was like the 80s. He was just rolling across the track. It really reminded me of that. So overall, the race wasn't that amazing, to be honest with you. The actual race wasn't amazing, but I think the main thing we can take out of this is the fact that Romain Grosjean is okay. I want to thank all of the medics and all of the marshals for being so prompt and for helping him so much. It was just absolutely incredible for him to be able to walk away from this incident, because it could have been so much worse. Okay, so moving on to predictions time now. I made my predictions at the Turkish Grand Prix for the Bahrain Grand Prix, so let's see if I got any right. So for qualifying, I predicted that Lewis Hamilton would get pole position. I predicted that Valtteri Bottas would be P2 and Sergio Perez would be P3. I was very wrong, but I wasn't very wrong. It was Lewis Hamilton that was P1. It was Valtteri Bottas P2 and Max Verstappen P3, so the usuals basically. But Checo was very fast this weekend. I knew he was going to be fast around Bahrain, and he was. The race, I predicted it would be Lewis Hamilton to win, Valtteri Bottas to be P2 and Max Verstappen to be P3, but it was actually Lewis Hamilton to win, Max Verstappen to be P2 and Alex Albon to be P3. Obviously that probably would have been the order if Valtteri didn't have a bit of a stinker and get his puncture that he did right at the start. Fastest lap, I said Sainz. It was actually Max Verstappen who got that. And to retire first, I said Esteban Ocon, but as we know, it was Romain Grosjean. Now moving on to Bahrain 2, which is literally Everyone's calling it the oval. It's literally a square. For qualifying, I've said Lewis Hamilton is going to get pole, Valtteri Bottas is going to get P2, and Lance Stroll is going to get P3. As I said, it's literally just long straights, so I can't see anybody that isn't a Mercedes-powered car really being up there, because the straight line speed is just going to be mega. For the race, I've said Lewis Hamilton is going to be P1, Sergio Perez is going to be P2, and Lance Stroll is going to be P3. That may be a little bit optimistic, but maybe I don't know what happened to Valtteri Bottas. I don't know where he's gone. But I believe that the racing points are going to be fast. For fastest lap, I've said Sergio Perez. Just feel like he might get that. And to retire first, I've said Esteban Ocon, because the Renaults like to retire around Bahrain, so maybe it'll be him. So there we have it. That is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel down below. Just want to remind you all that, you know, the sport that we love and the sport that we do all this content for is a very dangerous sport. And it is something that we can't take lightly, and we can't just brush over. These guys put their lives on the line every single weekend, and we've really got to remember that, and we've got to realise that incidents like this can happen. And I am just so thankful Roman is okay, and, you know, we'll recover from this. But yeah, I will see you again soon for another video. Goodbye.